Good morning. 2026 is off to a good start. Yesterday I made a video and I had talked about how I was off from both of my jobs and I was uncertain of what to do when that I don't know what to do when that happens. Because I'm not super broke in the sense of I'm stressing so much about money, but I'm nowhere near comfortable, if that makes sense. So I should be working. I need to be working. But at the same time, I also need to rest. And I understand that. So when those days happen, I'm thankful. Even though, if I had the choice, I'd probably work, which is not good because you need rest. But the day before that, so that was Friday, Thursday, I knew that I had no work from either job. And so when I was doing my nightly little prayer thing that I do, I commented, I said, hey, universe, I could use some assistance or guidance in how to handle tomorrow. I don't have any work and, I want to still do what the best thing I could do with the day would be. And I tried to leave it open, just asking for support, guidance. And when it came to being Friday, I woke up. I had little things on my life list that I needed to do, but nothing urgent, nothing major, nothing time constrained, whether I had to be somewhere at a certain time. And so I just tried to really go with the flow. There would be times where I'd be sitting in a parking lot like I am now at QFC, and I would just be sitting there being like, what should I be doing? I do have this one thing I need to do, but nope, I'm just gonna wait for a minute. And I just kind of waited for the universe to nudge me in the next direction. And I don't want to sound like I'm being passive or trying to remove responsibility or whatnot, or remove agency. I wanted to retain agency, but also allow guidance to happen. And I did. I made, in yesterday's video, I talked about how I was going to go to Starbucks to work on my taxes because it's really complicated. It's really frustrating. Corporations have lawyers that they pay to read the fine print to maximize, expenses and write-offs and deductions and crap. But us as normies, I guess I could find an accountant, but meh. Anyways, I believe it is morally okay to pay the least amount of taxes possible because, our taxes just go to support pedophilic warmongers. Anyways, not to get on that subject again. So while I was at Starbucks, and this is funny. So the title of this video, Do Prayers Even Work? I had an experience that just really told me, okay, wow, the universe is listening to me. It helped me. So I was at Starbucks. I had my nice little hot tea in a cup, and I had my laptop up, and I'm sitting on a chair at a table. I'm sitting like this, reading IRS codes. And so you can imagine my general disposition, my demeanor, my face, nothing about that was exciting or what I would think would be approachable. I'm literally trying not to be so mad, just really focused. Like, what counts as a business lunch? And this elderly woman approached me. I've also got headphones on, and I was wearing like my blue light blocking glasses. So I didn't think I was approachable. And it's so funny, I often get approached by older women who need help getting things off the top shelf in a grocery store, or this older woman who just needed help. I shit you not. She just needed help forwarding some emails. So she saw that I was on a laptop doing stuff and just, approached me. It blows my mind. Elderly women are not afraid of shit. I love it. Grandma energy. I love it. So after we successfully just forwarded a few of her emails, I went to her sent box to make sure that they sent. And then I also, told her, hey, go to your inbox, because if maybe the email, there was a typo or something, you should get a rejection notification. Everything seems square and cool. And, afterwards she had asked, oh, thank you, can I buy you a coffee? And I was towards the end of my stay there anyways. I had just finished my tea. I was pretty set. And I said, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I swear I'm about to leave myself. And so I go back to my computer, go back to IRS codes, and, she packs up because she's got to go do stuff. And on her way out, she stops by and she gives me a gift card. And I'm like, oh, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. I appreciate it. And it was really cool. It was a $10 gift card just for helping someone forward some emails. It was really cool, but had I not delayed at certain parts of my day prior to that, I would not have had that encounter. And that wasn't even the only encounter of the day. So that was cool. Blessing from the universe. I have a weed store that I really like to go to that's really close to one of the Planet Fitnesses that I go to. The guy checking IDs at the weed store noticed I was wearing my PSYOPs special shirt. Not everything is a PSYOP, but most things are. Description, you can find a link to get your own or to view the shirt. He was like, dude, I like that shirt, I want one. And I was like, oh man, well, so I actually designed it, and next week they've already been ordered, printed, they're in the mail now. Not a business card, but a business card, a 2x2 card with my logo, the No Division logo, and then on the backside a QR code that should take someone to my Printify store where they can buy the shirt. And I told him that. I was like, bro, next week I'll have a scan code for you. And so yesterday, just the way things flowed after me asking for help and support was really cool, really encouraging. You could call it a synchronicity. Especially too, because I want to try to sell some of these shirts. It's such a cool thing for me because I make a few dollars and I spread awareness, which is extraordinarily fulfilling. This idea that I can spread awareness while making a few bucks. That's in a sense ikigai, if you've heard of that concept. Ikigai, I believe. Japanese, sort of answer for the meaning of life, or how you should organize your life. It's all these intersections of things you enjoy doing that you can make money with that also benefit society. I felt like yesterday I was almost experiencing that ikigai, just the endeavor of my life and of my existence has all, sort of coalesced into the dream I had. And the dream was to just make money while trying to help humanity. And I think a lot of us in the conscious community, the spiritual community, or people who are just passionate, we see how big the problem is globally, and we get so consumed with, oh, we have the answers if people would just listen to us. And that's maybe not the best approach, although it's a necessary step, I believe, to just be faced with the true depth of the monster that we're facing, and to understand your own limitations, and to understand that your purpose is to not tackle the entire monster, but a piece of it. And your contribution, in addition to other people's contributions, and your inspiration that inspires other people to get involved, eventually the monster will be so overwhelmed with the cumulative aggregation of people waking up and awakening and fighting. And so it was a really cool day yesterday. And I'm not a Christian, so this word prayer, I literally, I'll wrap up the video sort of here. I literally will just say, hey, universe. That's how I start my prayers. And I have a sort of format, I usually, I talk about things I'm thankful for that happened throughout the day. And then I send out requests for healing energy for certain people I know that are struggling, or like good vibes for other people that I know are struggling in other ways. So people who maybe aren't sick but are just dealing with life difficulties. And then I, if I have requests, I'll throw those in there. And it's still kind of cheesy for me to talk about it because I'm nobody, and it's just talking to the universe. It still sounds cheesy, but I swear there's something to it. And so if you see this video, I would recommend you try to do it yourself, however feels most natural to you. I think the cool thing about spirituality is that it's fractal, in that it's similar in its manifestation but different in its iteration and interpretation, which is you having your practice and me having my practice. They're similar but different. So that's a much rambly video, but overall I think prayer works. It's crazy. It's crazy because logically there's a whole logical component to it that doesn't fit, but that's faith. And long video, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you very much. Much love.